Okay. Alright, everything's set up. Well, let's get to the art. Okay. Yeah, like the title implies. Not even implies, like the title says. I'm not trying to be subtle about this. I'm just. Anyway. Today, I just want to draw weapons. Just general object stuff. Okay. So first, I'll start with a sword. Yeah, no, just basic, run-of-the-mill. Nothing too fancy, but I like them. And also with swords, there's a lot of different variations on them. I mean, granted, you still just have the basic, like the most basic thing of it, just... Actually, what would you consider basic for a sword? Because, I mean, you have your, like, swords where it's the two sides of the blade are sharpened. But then you also have quite a few where it's just the one side, and it's not just like only katanas do that. You get for quite a few, and then that's not even getting into the ones where it's just a straight blade for it, and ones where they actually put some curve into it. So yeah, right now I look. That's cool. Anyway. I got a bit of a reference image on, like, quite a few swords just to figure out. Well, yeah, it's a reference image of a few swords, and right now I'm just looking for it to see, like, okay, which one actually looks cool? Well, I mean, they all look cool, the swords. But more like, what do I kind of... Okay, I think I've got a good idea of it. And actually, I want to try something. So if I copy that, then edit, then I can paste the reference. Now I'm going to need to crop the hell out of this. Okay. Yeah, this was a lot bigger than I was thinking, and I can shrink it, but I can't seem to crop it, which is a bit annoying. Because if I could... I think the crop is only going to... Okay, now I'm trying to figure out how this thing works. Oh. Okay. Undo. Undo. So, yeah, no, crop just... Yeah, okay, so unfortunately, I cannot crop this. But I think something I could do is I could send to back. Okay. Then in that case, best I can do is just move it over here. Okay. Can't remember how to make the reference image disappear though. Although cut would probably work for that. But anyway. Now onto this. Okay, so let's try and make... I'm trying to focus on like this kind of shape with the dowel, because it feels like how the blade is shaped. I don't care too much for the specifics of the handle, but how the blade is shaped, I like. Okay. So in general, the blade starts and then goes up to a point. Then there. And of the back, it should be. Oh, actually, no. Probably. Yeah, I want it to be lower than the tip that it's going up to. So, like that. Okay. Alright. Not bad. Okay. And again, no idea, like, well, specifically how the handle will look. Like, yeah, I don't really. Honestly, I'm even wondering, what did they use this little ring for? Like, was it just a decorative thing? I mean, like, pommels have definitely had, like, for some of them, they have just been, like, decoration, along with serving the purpose of having something to kind of stop your hand from just, like, basically to kind of hit against your hand so the entire sword doesn't, like, slide out if you're not tightly gripping the handle. Wait, is it called handle on a sword? Like, we have the basically handguard here. We have the pommel here. Is it called the grip? You know, I have a feeling that at one point in my life I did actually know this terminology. Okay. Well, for now, let's just give it a guard like. Okay, no, that's. Yeah, no, I did not like that guard. Okay, that works better. Now that I look, I wonder like, how different is like a Dao Dao compared to like a falchion? So at least the idea I have falchions are usually a similar blade shape. Though, doesn't seem like there's anything on here about them. If that's even like an actual name for something. Oh no, there's a falchion. Okay. So yeah. The general shape is kind of following a similar idea. Except the falchion's a bit longer, and instead of it being an angle and like the back curving, the back mostly stays as straight as the front of the sword. It's just like once the blade comes out, it kind of stops there and like, well, less it stops and more just like starts curving down to meet it. So the main difference between a falchion here is falchion has more of a pointed end. Okay. But yeah, no, I'm still thinking the Dao Dao's got the general vibe I'm going for with this. Okay. And wait, is it called a tang? No, I think tang's specifically for knives. And it's the end of the blade that actually goes into the handle. Okay, yeah, so I think it definitely is called handle. But yeah, handle should about... Well, actually, I know, even for a sword, it definitely would have a tang. And of course, the tang is narrower than the actual blade. And that also necessitates, in most cases, the handle having about the same width as the actual blade, so it can more securely, so it can actually secure the tang. Okay, so yeah, basically just keep going like this. Perfect. And then also I think I just have a just kind of nope. Needs to come out a bit more for the pommel. Again, now I kind of went a bit too far in with that. No. Okay, that works. Now I want to add in. Oh. Okay, let's actually make sure everything's connected. Don't want to start trying to do some select stuff and then find some weird fuckeries going on. But okay. So what I want to do next, I think this pencil brush should work well for what I'm planning. The idea of what I'm wanting to go for is that basically I want it to look like the blade is, like we got cracks running through it and it seems to just barely be holding on. So just something along these lines. You don't have curves with cracks, I just see. How the cracks isn't that important. I don't want them to be like too uniform. No, that again, even if that one was just ish, I did not like that. Nope. Start getting some weird curves there. I've tried. I want some of them to be really erratic, but unfortunately, erratic tends to start curving on me. And obviously, don't want to go outside the sword. Although that would be a terrifying thing to fucking see. Just like someone can't use a sword. It's just the blade is just all the way cracked, but the cracks are like actually leaving the blade and just going into the air. At that point, I just feel like, either I'm hallucinating or somehow this man has broken physics and caused things to crack which should not crack. Actually, I might just be going up against like fucking Whitebeard if he's able to crack the air like that. Okay, now I think about it, I can't remember if Whitebeard, when he uses his Devil Fruit, if it actually produce cracks in the air. I mean, I think he did, because I got like a general idea of just that image of him at like Marineford just using, like you see actual cracks in the air, but I can't remember if that was actually a thing, or if I'm just pulling shit out of my ass, because I think it would be cool. Okay. All right. Okay. Alright. Let's just erase this little bit that snuck out. Okay. Alright. So that's looking pretty good. Now, what I'd want for the handle, I am nowhere near good enough to actually give a good idea of texture and stuff. But I think I just go with a general, like, leather wrap around the handle. So let's just go like that. At least just to get an idea that there's something wrapping around there. Okay, so that's good for the first one. Okay. Now for this, I'm not going to bother trying to set up color. At least, if I'm going to do any color, it's not going to be right now. Right now, I just want to draw. So, okay. Now, the next thing... Oh, actually, let me just get rid of this, because I'm not going to be using it right now, so let's just... get that out of the way. Excuse me. But, alright. Okay. For the next thing I'm going to draw, it's not something I think actually exists. I'm wanting to redraw something I drew back in high school. Honestly, if I actually thought about it, I should have actually tried to look through my notebooks to see if I still had the one that I doodled this in. But I have the general idea in my head of, yeah, of a shape. So, alright. Let's just move up a bit on the canvas here. Alright. No. Yeah, let's swap back over to this. Okay. First, start with these two right here. Actually, okay. Gallery selection to new layer. Now I move the selection down here. Okay. And then just merge these layers. Alright. So now that I get these are basically handles. I'm actually thinking about, well, actually this could give me a nice little chance to use this little tool here. Although actually, Actually, alright. Not gonna worry about that. Alright. Okay, no, that's too much. Okay, no, I think that's a good enough. That's good enough for that. You know, I have an actual ruler I can use with this, but I'm definitely realizing that it'd be a lot easier to use it if I could actually see, like, on my tablet instead of, well, instead of my current situation where I can set up on my tablet, but I have to make sure it's actually matching up here. But okay, so that works for that. No, don't want to be. Yeah, I gotta have it here. No. And not like that. Okay, that works. No, it needs to kind of curve more of it. God, I had that good and I messed up the end there. Alright. Nope. Straight lines, Cyrus, straight lines. No, actually, no, I kind of want it to... Okay, yeah, like this. Okay, not that bad, though. But I kind of want these to have a hook feeling. Okay, no, now I got the idea of why I'm having this much issue with the second one. It's because I was having it be just a, like, consistent angle when it's coming up. This one gives more of a hook because it's not a consistent angle all the way through. It's actually changing. Maybe that would help? Like, I don't need a straight line, I need something that curves. Okay, no, that looks better. That looks better. That fits what I was thinking of a lot better. No, a bit much. No, I almost had it. Okay. No. Yeah, again. Needs to hook more. Okay, that works. Okay. So... okay. Got all that done. Now for this... it's basically matching a crosshatch grip pattern. You know how stuff like the I was saying like the metal flashlights. I can't remember if like the large ones are specifically called mag lights, or if that's a specific brand. But kind of like what the big, well, it wasn't even just on the big ones. It was also on the like actual smaller ones. But they would have this crosshatch pattern for the grip to, well, make it harder for it to actually slip out make it harder for the flashlight to slip out your hands. Okay. And now that I've gotten this set up, I can select it, copy to new layer. And there we go. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, of course, as I'm going through this, I'm kind of realizing that it's going to depend on how much like actual detailing I kind of want to put on these. And right now I'm not really feeling like doing too much extra detailing. But just kind of realizing I haven't exactly put on an easy way to differentiate what's actually like a sharp part. Of course, I'm not exactly too familiar with how I do that, of course. But it did cross my mind. Because, like, looking at these, you don't really get an idea of what part is supposed to actually be sharp. I mean, you might have an idea. Of course, you might not know what the hell these are even supposed to be, and I can't blame you for that since, like I said, this came out of a high schooler's imagination. So, yeah, not exactly surprising if people, like, will look at this and just wonder what the hell they're looking at. So, I guess I'll just give a brief explanation of, like, the idea I had behind these when I came up with them over 10 years ago. The basic idea for these is that they're like tonfas with blades coming out of them. Of course, in no way, shape, or form would these actually be practical. I mean, you could probably get something with a, like, actually, if I really wanted to be practical, it'd probably be better if I had the blades kind of lower down, now that I think about it, but that can be for the V2, like version 2 of this design, where I actually work on it and refine it. But yeah, basic idea is, like, obviously here's the handle where you grip it, your fingers go here where this part, like this first blade, acts as a big guard. And of course the tapping is, this won't even really work well as a tonfa because you can't even, like, from what you can see in the design, you can't really spin it around easily because as soon as you try and spin around so you can hit people, like, away from yourself, then this part gets in the way. And again, this was not a weapon that was meant, I did not come up with this when I was like 17 or 18 with an idea of, oh, this would actually be like a feasible thing for people to use. No, it was, this is a cool idea. I'm gonna make it. Because in that time, a lot of my creative process and stuff, like, a lot of my inspirations was from manga and anime, like, because that was in the heyday of the big three, like Naruto, Bleach, One Piece. I mean, One Piece is still here, by God. But yeah, no. Like, a lot of the ideas I was coming up with were getting inspired, like, obviously from the media I was watching and consuming and reading and all that jazz. So I was less thinking of this would be a feasible weapon and more just going along the lines of this would be cool. And of course, since it is meant to just be something that's really cool, then when you would like turn this around to actually, like when you'd flip the top around, this part would actually kind of raise up so it wouldn't actually get in the way of you using it. Again, not meant to be anything that's like actually feasible in the real world, just something like something cool that popped into my head. And again, yeah, something popped in my head. I was a teenager, I thought, damn, this is cool, and just decided to sketch it out. Now again, I am realizing I really should have had these blades kind of just have them laid lower here. Oh, yeah, I love rule of cool weapons. Yeah, thanks for the assurance, Red Toxin. But yeah, and honestly, what I'm gonna be drawing today is, what I kind of want to draw today is just basically weapons for some of my OCs. Like, hell, this one was also one that I basically have for one of my OCs. And these guys, like, these characters, they have been in my head for over a decade. By God, and like, they just live there. It is their home. They are not moving out, and I cannot kick them out, nor would I want to. But yeah, so although like this one from the outset, it doesn't look like it's too weird or awkward or anything. I mean, you might think like, okay, it looks like the cracks, and you might think that thing looks like it would fall apart as soon as you swing it. And the thing is, you'd be right. Like, as soon as anyone just tries to grab this and swing it, that blade is falling to pieces. But for the character that actually uses it, well, God, you know what? No, Cyrus. Don't give a shit if it's cringe. Explain your OCs, because god damn it, you're doing this shit, you're gonna do it right. Alright. So, for the character that actually uses this weapon, he basically has a power that allows him to, at least at the beginning of the story, he can basically impose his will on objects. So for the sword, he's basically constantly telling it, do not fall apart, stick together, do not fall apart. And it works, and it's basically at a level of, he's obviously not constantly thinking about it, because God, that would just drive him insane. I mean, the entire setting, well no, his setting is not driving him insane. His setting is basically filling him with endless anxiety over not feeling like he's actually good enough to be part of everything that's going on, and also just a general dread and fear for the future in his life. He's not going insane, but after the entire story's over, he really should just like go to a therapist. I mean, I feel bad for him, but I'm also putting him through all this stuff, so yeah, that's just how it is when you make characters. You lovingly craft them, you give them all these nice little details, you set their personality, and then you just toss them into a goddamn wood chipper. And once they come out the other side, you put them back together. Now, so the wood chipper is the story. I should have said a wood chip. You toss them into a wood chipper called story. But anyway, they come out on the other side, you piece them back together. Maybe toss in some wood glue, some duct tape. And then, yeah, you have your character who has gone through character development. There's a good chance they will need therapy. Thankfully, it's not like all of my characters need therapy. Some of them definitely make other people need therapy afterwards, but not all of them need therapy after the story's over. But yeah, so the general idea is he can basically force his will upon objects and also through objects. So basically, like I said, the sword basically has a constant command of do not fall apart. And when he actually starts like hitting, well, I was gonna say people, but he doesn't really go up against people. But they're not not too sure on what exactly to call them. I guess enemies is probably the best idea right now. I have like the general overview of his plot, but I really have not had any time to actually go in and write the details of it. But basically, when he's fighting, he can hit the enemies with it, because honestly, this thing is not sharp. At the very least, when he first gets it, it is not sharp. It is old as hell, it is breaking down. He basically just has a metal club. Actually, a metal club will be better than this. It's basically a training sword that's falling apart. But the basic idea is that one of the basic things he does is, like, every time he hits an enemy, and actually kind of like builds up a chain of them, with each consecutive hit, the sword basically hits heavier. And you just keep doing that until, I mean, eventually it's just gonna cause whoever he's hitting to just get knocked the fuck out. And I did get for that ability, I did get inspired by Bleach. I cannot remember the name of the Shinigami whose Zanpakuto ability is similar to that. But basically, that Shinigami's ability is, each time he hits something with his Zanpakuto and Shikai, it like doubles the weight of what he hits. Which eventually is, like, the intention is, hit the enemy enough times that they get too heavy for them to actually be able to lift themselves. And yeah, like, sound like a Bleach thing. I never got into Bleach, sadly. Try, but I guess it was for me. Yeah, that's fair. Nothing's for everyone. But yeah, like, it was basically inspiration for it. Of course, I don't want to be exactly the same. Like, even back then, I didn't want to be. Back then, I was actually a lot more worried about being called out for copying stuff. Like, just not even like designs and stuff. The stuff that actually makes sense to call someone out for copying, just copying concepts. Really worry about that. So, yeah, inspiration is definitely a form of flattery. But yeah, like I said, I came up with this stuff in my teens, so about 14 or 15 years ago, around now. And yeah, I really wanted it to be like, oh yeah, it's similar to this, but it's like I put my own spin on it, so it's new and amazing and all that. And I mean, I've still kept with the idea because I like it. And of course, with age and being able to just like focus on this over time, I've added on more stuff, but that's the basics for it. Okay. So now on to the next one. Now, if I was going in order of characters, I was gonna say in order of characters, but there's like nothing that actually makes. Okay. Just realized. Alright, so let's just. Oh. Am I drawing using a tablet or mouse? I'm drawing using a tablet. I basically just. Like I said, Deco M Pen tablet. Honestly, it's one of the cheaper ones for me to get, and I figured I do want to do some digital drawing, but using my mouse for all of that, yeah, I'm not exactly that good with my hands for that, so I figured I'll just get a basic tablet, use a bit, see how I actually like drawing with it before I think about investing in a better tablet. Because I'm definitely thinking if I want to, like, after I get a job again and get back to working, so I don't really have to worry too much about not being able to pay my mortgage and bills. And I'm definitely thinking of, like, I want to upgrade to a tablet that, like, I'd really like to be using a tablet that actually has a screen on it. Because while I can work with this, with just drawing and looking at my monitor to see what's going on, I would actually like to have a screen on my tablet, just so I get just for the ease of use of being able to put down a straight edge on there so I can actually draw a straight line. Because I can do it on here, but I can't be sure if I'm drawing my straight line in the right place. But, okay, so this... Yeah, the name is a work in progress, but just want to label the stuff for now. Yeah, that's what I use, and it's so nice. Screen tablet. It uses a third monitor sometimes too. Yeah. Honestly, a third monitor wouldn't be that bad. With my setup, I basically have 2 monitors, an actual, like, computer monitor, and a small TV that I've repurposed to act as a second monitor. Oh, thank you for the follow, Red Toxin. It's always nice to have a new client. But yeah, having a third monitor wouldn't be too bad. Like, honestly, it'd probably make it easier for me to actually, like, keep an eye on YouTube checks. I could probably just move it into there. And not even just keep an eye, because I'd basically just be able to pop it out, put it in there, and then I'd actually be able to type in chat through there. Because if I wanted to type in YouTube chat right now, I'd actually have to go to the live stream page and actually type in the chat window there. Like, I've put it into my, like, I have it sit as a doc in my OBS, but it's just, like, the stuff pops up there, but I can't actually type in there because I'm not logged in through there. And it's gonna be, and the fact that I have to change it every stream, and I'm pretty sure it would log me out every time I did that, so yeah, it'd be annoying. But okay. So for this, okay, Avis Tonfas. All right. Okay. All right. And as I was saying before, like, if it was following character order, well, the next character in order is someone who doesn't actually have a weapon. At most, if I wanted to draw his weapon, it would literally just be like clawed hands and feet. And yeah, those aren't exactly weapons. I mean, I do have a general idea of actually weapon versions of those, but that's a separate thing. And yes, Red, feet were mentioned. So were hands. But yeah, because the second character, like, basically, the character order I'm talking about is I've had these guys long enough that I have a very specific order that I think of them in. It's just... yeah, no, it's bottom of the barrel stuff, Red, but... it's Chad. I'm not exactly expecting too much, so don't worry about it. It's not like I get annoyed by feet jokes. But, yeah. I've had these guys for over a decade, and I've pretty much set up a order of them in my head. Like, so, second character, as mentioned, he's basically more of a bare-handed combatant. And, I mean, he's also not exactly... I was gonna say not exactly human, but that's not exactly too big of a sticking point for these characters. Like, because when I'm thinking about my main group of 6, half of them are not human. And the other half, like, I mean, they're human in the sense that, like, they aren't on Earth in their stories. None of them are from Earth. Earth is not in any of these stories, but they're basically humans, and they're humans in the sense of humanoid body plan without many, if any, deviations from how a human looks. But yeah, and yeah, hand-to-hand combat characters are really, like, just really fun. Like, hell, my character I'm using right now is a PNG Cyrus. He's mainly a hand-to-hand combatant. And of course, he's got a lot of experience with other weapons, including guns. Like, he's lived over 6,000 years. He's experienced a lot of shit. But his preferred method is hand-to-hand combat. Of course, if the situation calls for it, he literally can pull an RPG, like an RPG launcher, just out of his back pocket and just fire it. Like, okay, I think the character's name was Homura from Madoka Magica. Because, if I remember right, I have not watched Madoka Magica, but I've seen enough of it online that I have absorbed some of the information just through general pop culture osmosis. But Homura basically, through her time stop powers, just robs army bases of all their munitions to just use against witches. And Cyrus is kind of like that. He doesn't have time stop powers. And quite a few of the things he pulls out are definitely, like, years out of date. They still work perfectly fine, but he's rocking some old school munitions. Like, there's a very good chance he could pull out a gun that, if anyone actually saw it, they would realize, like, my god, man, that thing is like 30 years old. Why do you still have that? But yeah, so again, hand-to-hand is his preferred, but he's ready for anything. But anyway, back to the other characters, because Cyrus, we can get to Cyrus later. So basically for the second character, Gregan, he's effectively I've taken to calling him a chimera, not in the sense of a, like, mythological chimera. He doesn't exactly match that. More in the sense that he's a chimera as in multiple traits from differing, like, individual that... different creatures are present in him, and like his species didn't exactly come about naturally. Like they're basically created to be, they're a created species made by a large intergalactic empire to basically be sent to potential targets early on to basically act as spies, just to figure out, like, is this a planet that we actually want to dedicate resources to capturing? And they do that because, well, they were basically designed to transform their bodies to mimic the life forms they run into on a planet. Which, honestly, they could run to a lot of different life forms, so their makeup is pretty much set that they can just change themselves. Like, their default state, you could kind of imagine them as wolves. Not exactly in that they look like wolves, but they have the general body plan. They get sent onto a planet, they'd find a life form, and then they just modify their body to pretty much appear to be it. And honestly, they're really damn good at it. You wouldn't be able to tell unless, like, you wouldn't be able to tell they were a chimera unless you actually saw them do the transformation. So that's how his species was created and what they were created for. But then one of the scientists that actually was responsible for making these, like making this entire species, kind of realized, like, you know, I don't think the Empire's actually a good, I don't really think I should be making spies to the Empire to help them take over planets. But thankfully he wasn't just like, he didn't have the idea of, you know, I'm just gonna kill all the chimeras we made and then leave. He wasn't that much of an asshole. No, instead what he did was he decided to basically take the youngest generation of chimeras they made before they can actually get any of the general, like, and basically kind of realize that it's a general, like, I want to say programming, not in the sense of like computers, and more in the sense of just a education course kind of thing. Basically a way of brainwashing, not exactly, but something the Empire made the chimeras go through to, well, first of all, make sure they actually follow the Empire's cause, and also as a way to kind of get the information of how to transform their bodies properly, like get them to actually learn that. Because again, this is not a species that came about naturally. This is a species that was created. They have to figure out, like, okay, how do we get this thing to actually properly change itself so it doesn't look like an abomination? And of course, the scientists would have liked to actually have them learn that, but unfortunately, it was kind of bundled in with the Empire is the greatest. You would love to give your life for the Empire propaganda stuff, so yeah, kind of had to roll with what he got. Basically, it takes the youngest generation of, like, newest generation of chimeras, basically just sends them to any, like, just randomly sends them to just throughout any dimensions, any worlds, because, again, which I am just thinking, just like saying it like that, again, sounds kind of like an asshole thing to do, because he's basically sending babies to just random planets. But the chimeras are definitely hardy enough that, like, they don't really need a parent to raise them to actually be able to survive, so again, it definitely does not sound all that good of a actual deed when I lay it out like that without the important context, but basically does that, sends out the youngest generation, and one of them is Gregan. And of course, through luck of the draw, Gregan gets sent to what is effectively a death world that people still go to live in, Because most of the people that aren't already natives there are crazy enough to want to go to a place where most of the fauna wants to kill and eat you, and some of that fauna is fucking gigantic. But yeah, so again, some people that want to go there voluntarily, they're crazy. And that's not everyone that goes there. Sometimes people just wind up there because the entire world is a bit dimensionally unstable, and sometimes it can just like pluck you out from your world, put you in the death world, and well, that's your life now. But yeah, so Gregan ends up in there, and luckily he actually ends up in the care of a, well, I wouldn't say she's pretty powerful, but she's, well, he winds up in the care of a woman who's basically been living there for a long time because, well, I mean, you know how death worlds can sometimes be. Sometimes they actually have some stuff that's really worth going there. And for her, it was the plants. Like, she's really into them. Just, like, using them for medicines, like herbology, all that kind of shit. She is a plant wizard. And she also knows magic, but that's kind of just like a basic thing of the world. It's just, again, death world. You pick up everything you can that helps increase your chances of living. But yeah, Gregan gets picked up by this very nice woman. She pretty much ends up raising him. And again, because he didn't go through the programming that chimeras are supposed to go through, he kind of ends up changing his body in strange ways that chimeras normally wouldn't do. Because he isn't doing anything to, like, he's not changing himself to match anything. He kind of ends up changing his body to more adapt to the situation he's in. I mean, there's also a general change that he does go through as he grows up, where he wants to, like, look, like, basically be more similar to his mother. Not in the sense that he wants to look like her, but more it's kind of more the reason why he changes from the chimera's basic quadruped form to a more biped one. Of course, he doesn't really know to remove any parts that were kind of still there, so he still has like a tail. And like his claws, like his hands and feet are still, well, his feet do actually kind of change more, because like the general foot shape of a biped is definitely different than a quadruped, so they change, and his hands also change because he's actually using them as hands, not as feet. But yeah, his body begins to change to adapt to the situations that he finds himself in. Like, he's wanting to help out his mother right now, and like, he's helping out his mother. They're basically just like moving plants around, repotting them and stuff, and even like actually planting more plants down their garden. And so he's thinking like, well, it's not even a conscious thought, it's more of an unconscious one, but he's wanting something to make it easier to dig. And he has seen some animals that, like, his mother has actually shown him some of the animals on the world, and some of them, like, they obviously like have more pronounced claws for digging. And so he's in a situation, he's like digging with his hands, because this happens when he's young, and unfortunately his mom does not have like baby's first. Oh wait, shit, what are those tiny handheld shovels? They have an actual name. Well, anyway, his mom doesn't have gardening tools fit for like a young child, so he's basically he's helping her out by just playing in the dirt, basically. I mean, she's okay with it. She understands. Just like, yeah, no, kids just need to play in the dirt, root around in it, have fun. But he's thinking it's pretty hard to just dig with just his hands as they are, and without consciously thinking about, like, his hands actually, like, get more pronounced claws actually make it easier to dig. And, like, the another thing, well, basically he has situations like that as he's growing up, until eventually he basically ends up about 10 feet tall. He has clawed hands and feet. His tail is actually grown to, like, his tail is basically prehensile at this point, ends in a barbed point because he actually found that to be useful. And he also has a big pair of wings. Again, a lot of stuff happened as he was growing up, and God bless his mother's heart for dealing with a child like this. But yeah, because of that, he doesn't really have weapons, because, like, he's a 10-foot tall, flying beefcake of a man who could just, like, gore someone with his fingers. He doesn't need a weapon. He is the weapon. And by God, if anything tries to fuck with him, they are going to regret it. I mean, hell, when he actually gets older, he pretty much just makes a living on being a goddamn bodyguard for going through the death world between, like, actual safe, like... Because for being a death world, this place actually has cities where people can live in relative safety. And he's just basically decided as he grew up and became an adult that he was just gonna make it his job to just like, guide people between these places and keep them safe. Anyway, that's a general overview of Gregan. And also, it's like, for drawing characters like him is one of the reasons why I want to actually improve, but dear God, I do not like drawing people. Okay, I need a drink after all that. But, alright, so now I can go on to the next person that actually has a weapon. And for this guy, well, his name is Celex. And for him, he just basically has... Okay, actually, let me restart that. For him, he just basically, I'm thinking of a kind of a 3-segment staff, where it's basically, when all segments are together, it's just like a normal length staff, but you can actually separate them. Well, separate usually is still like connected by, say, like a chain or such, but you can actually pop them apart, and so you can just kind of like manipulate the parts separately. But yeah, so that's what Celex has. So it's a pretty, like, honestly, really basic thing. I mean, it's just a staff, so if I wanted to actually get into it more, I'd have to really go in, like, the finer details are really what would actually make it. But I'm generally feeling that we, at the very least, kind of have... Okay, no, not that big. Like, at the very least, we have little kind of ring parts around, like, a third of it. Well, no, not around a third, but at 1/3 intervals along it. Just kind of as a way to show, like, yes, this is where it breaks. Or it separates. Okay, I'm thinking I should have... Yeah, I kind of want these to be a bit more noticeable. Okay. Then I go in here, just clear this out. All right. Okay, I guess I can add a bit more detail here. It's just like, oh, like actually, yeah, no, I should use the same brush these time. Okay, but like having, like along the ends here, is kind of having, because I've definitely seen some like staffs and such that have kind of some more raised bits on the ends of them. And also, let's close that up. Just basically something that honestly, it would probably really suck to get hit by. Okay. No, no. Do not make the E that big. Okay. Alright. So let's start on a new layer. Okay, and let's focus on this. Let's start over in this corner. Yeah, I can move stuff if I need to. Alright, now the next one. Oh, okay, the next one we're actually getting back to a sword, so. Well, let me just add this in once it loads. Yeah, do not need this. And also, you can shrink that. Ah, come on. Hold up. Ready? Okay, there we go. Okay, dang it. I should have zoomed out a bit more for this. Okay. Alright, I think this is better. Okay, yeah. So now for the next character, I'm wanting more to go about an idea of, like, with him, he's more of a, like, a knight character. So I'd want something that, okay, no, that kind of works. So, like, something like the arming sword, that actually looks like a pretty good, like, design for like, what his weapon would look like. Although, that one... Okay, I know, I've got... Okay, like... It'd be like this. Like, this would be the... Well, okay, so... Basically, for the next character... And actually, now I think about it, let me just... Okay. Okay, never mind. I was just trying to save it. It like popped something up of could not save, the image was busy, but I was able to save it because I've done a lot of stuff in this, so I don't want it to just disappear. But yeah, so as I was saying with Dimon, his design is kind of like more of a knight idea. Like just the general image of a knight in full armor wielding a sword. I mean, that's just a cool idea. No matter what. It just like I liked it, so I pretty much made that the base of his character. I mean, granted, that's not exactly doesn't have anything to do with his personality, but just general character design. That was kind of the start of him, and it's well, I haven't really strayed from it because like I said, I like it. It's nice. Although. I definitely feel like I'm a bit torn because I definitely can't deny the appeal of just like seeing someone with just a giant sword. It's just awesome. So honestly, the two-handed sword might be a better idea. I mean, again, it's just, and hell, that's not even a part, like, figuring out the size of it is one thing, but it's also an entire other thing with it specifically. Like, general idea is that basically, during the first half of Dimon's story, he has the sword with him, but he can't really draw it out of its sheath. Or, more to the point, no one really knows it's actually in a sheath. As far as anyone else is concerned, it's just a really big sword. And not just in like length, but also in like width. From what they can tell, it's longer, like it's bigger than any sword really should be. And honestly, Dimon's only really carrying around because it's more of a family like heirloom. He's like, it's the old family sword. Take this with you. It'll do like that kind of thing. So I'm kind of torn on how I want, like, what I want the design to be. Okay, I think I got the idea. Okay. Alright, so for this one, with this idea, I'm going to want to start with drawing the guard and the handle and pommel first. In which case, let's draw them down here. Okay. Yeah, this isn't good enough. All right. Okay. Yep. Okay. You know what, actually, let me... Oh, I can actually... Well, yeah, I mean, I'm using a tablet like this. It shouldn't really surprise me that that the ruler I'm using isn't exactly enough of a... Like, it's not thick enough to actually block the tablet from realizing the pen is there. Okay. God dang it. Okay. Draw that part out there. I'm actually thinking, like, a general idea have it be kind of similar to how the Cincada is in the shape of it with... dang it. God, I cannot draw lines to save my life. And yeah, the ruler is not exactly going to help here because I have no point of reference. That's a nope. Nope, not that. Actually, is there a tool I could use? Well, this could help give, like, help delineate like a guideline. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could actually use it as a guideline if it stays up when I... Okay, it does. Oh, no, it didn't. Ah, great. Is there any tool that would help me with that? Well, actually, yeah, there is a line tool, duh. Oh, God, no, not that thickness. Maybe... Of course, this thing doesn't... Okay, let's try this. No, it... Is there anything to... okay, excuse me. Got a call coming up, let me just take this. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, that call wasn't anything important. It was honestly someone trying to, well, call to see if I want to sell my parents' property. God, those calls have just been incredibly annoying to receive. Like, I buy my own house, and then everyone wants to just call and say, like, hey, do you want to sell, like, the old, like, is your old address that you lived at, are you willing to sell that? No, because that's my parents' place. It's not my place to sell. And honestly, by the time it gets to, like, it'll be years before it ever gets to the point where that's something that I'm in charge of. Okay. But, alright. Okay. Yeah. My folks buy a house and get mail all the time about selling the house. But yeah, no, it's like as soon as you just do that, like as soon as you get on the market, everyone gets your info and then they just keep hounding you about it. Thankfully, the only mail I've got that, well, has anything to do with selling my house is technically like business postcards from my realtor. Like the realtor that I worked with to buy this house. So for those, I mean, obviously I'm not selling my house. I literally just bought it a few months ago. But I'm not as annoyed with those because, like, my realtor was a nice lady. I liked working with her on this. She's a good person. So I just see that as just a little reminder that, like, something to just hold on to, so eventually if I do think about, like, selling this house and moving, I got someone I can just call right up. I can tell her about it, and she can just help me, like, with getting all of that sorted. But, alright. So, now that I've gotten this. So, the general idea is that this is basically what it looks like what the swords look like for years. Like, as long as anyone in Divin's family could remember, it has basically looked like this. Just a giant sword. And no one's actually been able to, like, pull the actual blade out of the sheath. So, again, no one knows that it actually looks like a normal sword under all this. They just see it like this, and again, no one can pull it out. There's no information to their knowledge that this is actually the sheath that it's just stuck in. Okay, so what kind of pommel design would I want for this? And not the Cinqueda, because that's definitely one more for a knife. Okay, actually, maybe I should have it. Okay, I think I'll try and have the handle taper to a bit of a point before making the pommel. In which case, I kind of want to... Yeah, let's just make this straight up 90 degrees. Just to make this a bit easier. Alright. Okay, now it feels like it's a bit too much of a, like, too steep of a taper. And now that, shit. Redo. Okay, yeah, forgot about that. But, okay. So I feel like... start like that. Yeah, it feels good for a handle. Then we just kind of taper it in a bit. And then just a nice pommel like here. Okay. So, yeah. The general idea of this is that like for the first half of the story, he is just literally walking around with a sword that's permanently sheathed, and he is just beating people up with it without realizing it. And how enough people throughout his family have not realized that this is a sheath that's in, that they've actually managed to sharpen it. Although, to be fair to them, it really does not look like a sheath. It just looks like it's stuck in a hunk of metal. So of course some people would just see and be like, okay, we really need to sharpen this thing. I mean, look at it. Look how dull this is. And of course, then they would also start to question why this doesn't really have a hand guard. But, oh well. Okay. Demon's Blade. Okay. And I can now get rid of this. Okay, so the next one... The next character's weapons, if on the order, that would be Hyra. Now, Hyra is... okay. Just need to figure out how much else I really need to explain. I mean, honestly, I probably don't really need to explain all too much. Hyra just basically dual wields pistols. Of course, you can do some fancy stuff with them that normally pistols can't do. I mean, honestly, I say pistols, but it's not exactly like... Wait, actually, is pistol like a specific type of handgun? Well, not like type handgun. I mean, like, is pistol the same as like Kleenex? In the sense that it's a specific brand's name, but it just becomes so ubiquitous that people just call anything by that name? Huh. But, well, putting that aside... Oh. Wrong tool selected. Like, putting aside the wonder of if pistol refers to a specific type of handgun, or if pistol's just the umbrella term for all the handguns, because I know you got like Desert Eagles, you got Lugers, but I don't know if pistol is a specific one, or if it's just a general term. I mean, although think about it, it's probably just a general term, because I mean, you have rifles as a term for all, like, that's just as a broad term for long guns and stuff. But anyway, I'm getting off base anyway. I'm not too actually familiar with. I really do need to actually look more into pistol, like guns and stuff. But actually, hell, after I end this stream, I'm definitely gonna be looking at my little, like, looking through my old notebooks, see if I can find that little doodle and stuff, because, like, I remember actually really liking what I drew then. Although I did draw the pistols, but I don't think I drew the entire ones. I think I just drew the grips, because I actually had a specific design I wanted to put on them. In which case... Okay. Actually, yeah, no, I can draw these larger than normal, because I'm just going to draw the grips right now. Okay. Then give it a bit of a curve in. All right. Like that. Might as well at least draw the trigger on the trigger guard to make it easier for me to remember later, like, oh yeah, this is a handgun grip. But, okay. Yeah, I'd say that works for now. So specifically, like, Hire wields 2 pistols that he's... Well, no, I don't want to say he's named because they actually do have proper names that he learns when he... Well, that he learned when he picked them up the first time. They're called Sol and Moon. Yeah, like, it's some basic shit, but I do like sun and moon imagery. Especially when you compare them together. So, this... No, don't want to start... Yeah, they kind of have to start wide out. And then you go to a point... I'm kind of going for a... Like how sometimes depiction of the sun's like... You can get ones, like the most basic depiction of the sun is just circle with straight lines radiating out. And then if you want to get fancy, you get wavy lines, kind of like indicate like fire. So I'm kind of going for that with this. And of course, I'm not going to be able to fit everything on here. Mainly because there's not really much, I didn't give myself that much space. But I can work with this. Honestly, it might have been better if I decided to make the draw design first, then put it on the grip, and might do that when I'm drawing moons. But oh well. Okay, I'd say it's good enough for now. Reset. Alright. And then... Well, actually, I'll wait for that for after I've drawn the second one. Okay. Now for Lun. Okay, I think of just the pretty basic crescent moon. Like, yeah, I mean, you want to draw a moon? This is the best way to actually get across it. It's the moon and not just the sun. dang it. Trying to actually like glide my hand a bit, but it just gets like my hand just kind of sticks a bit too much to my tablets to make that easy. All right. Okay. Yeah. Alright, close enough for that. Okay. So now for this, just kind of want to draw some crosshatches. Because you gotta make sure this has... I can erase what goes through those, so it's not that bad, but just kind of realize that. Yeah, just add some crosshatching on the grip to actually... Because you kind of want stuff like that on your grip so it's easier to grip. Don't want this sliding out of your hands. All right. And I'm not going to care too much if I actually get this to match up and be a good pattern with how like much area I'm trying to cover with it. You know, there's probably like a pattern I could actually put in here that would work for this, but can't really be bothered to try and figure that out. All right. Just clear this out. Okay. Doesn't look too bad. Although I just realized I definitely made this one wider. And I think I'm not going to try and do the same thing over here just because that's going to take a while. Yeah, for just a general idea of how these should look, I'd say this works good. Okay, merge with layer below. Alright. Okay. Ira pistols. Okay. Alright, so I'd have one last... Actually, wait, would he be my last? Okay, he's got one. Pretty much already covered that one with Apis. And next, yeah, no, those three don't have a specific weapon. Okay, I'd say this next one should be the last weapon I'm thinking of right now. Okay. And for this one... Okay, for this last character would be... Okay, well actually first let me just add a layer so I don't mess anything else up. Yeah. Okay. This next one... Again, like I said, I made these characters about a decade and a half ago. So of course I had to have someone with a katana. And katana goes to the last character for today. So, and curve up like that. Well, actually, wait. Okay, no. Alright, let's bring up the reference again. Because I want to be sure I'm actually getting the proper idea of how it actually have. Again, katanas do have the come on, shrink. The katanas, yeah, they do actually have a bend to them. They're not like a straight back. Okay. Yeah, let's swap to my brushes. Probably not that much of a curve. And not that much either. Let's try to drive vertically. That would help. Okay, it's good except for at the end here. Kind of... The angle there was just a bit too much. Okay. And looking at them... Okay, the top here needs a bit steeper of an angle. Okay, that looks like it's good. Okay, no, that was a bit too wide for this. Okay, that looks better. And how wide were the handguard? Okay, and now the handguards are pretty thin with katanas. Actually, wait, how is it? Yeah, no, the curve continues through, so actually thinking about it, I probably can make these a bit closer here. I kind of need to have an angle when I'm... Okay. That works better. So, yeah. The curve kind of continues into the handle. Katana doesn't exactly have a straight grip. Although it probably shouldn't curve that much. Yeah. So a bit like this, maybe? Okay. Oh, maybe the... Yeah. Okay, I think I could at least with this one. Try and give an idea about the actual sharp part of the blade. Okay, actually, no, that does not look nice. Okay. Alright. So yeah, that's all of the... At least I'm pretty sure it's like all the weapons for my characters. Yeah, I'm fairly certain that's all of the weapons. Because again, I do have a good amount that don't use like conventional weapons. At the very least, this is all the ones I can think of currently. There's probably a good chance or so that I've missed one. I'd say this is the best I can do for now. Yeah, I really need to go and actually try and see if I can find that notebook again. Okay, wow, that pop felt nice. Alright. No, this isn't all the weapons for... Okay, no, I know I just said this is all the weapon... All the weapons for my characters, but that's not exactly accurate. It's... Well, I think I still got a few more. And I really need to actually look into, like, look back to my character bios I've written to see what I'm missing, because I feel like I'm definitely missing some stuff. Like, more than I think I am. But that's something for a later day. Alright. So let's find someone to raid. Let me reload the... Okay, good. So, just got to see who is streaming right now. Okay. Alright guys, we're gonna be raiding into Nirakata. She's a VTuber and right now she's going to be streaming Doom the Dark Ages. And she's really been looking forward to this game, so I think this is gonna be a fun stream. Alright, so I'll be starting the raid now. Okay. Alright, for everyone who came in, whether you lurked, whether you chatted, thank you. I appreciate having someone to talk with, sometimes talk to, when I'm going and doing stuff like this. Oh, wait, shit, I forgot to swatch the ending screen. Okay, doing that now. But, yeah, it's always nice to just have someone here. And I really appreciate it. Whenever you can take some time out of your busy day to just spend some time here, it's nice. Alright, my next stream is going to be this Friday, where I'm going to actually be finishing all the crown hunting in Monster Hunter Wilds. And that's a guarantee. I'll finally be done with that, at least until Tile Update 2 and the Gaiacrus comes in. Alright, I hope you all have a wonderful morning, noon, afternoon, evening, day, night, wherever you are, whenever you are, whatever time zone you're in. I hope you're having a wonderful time of it, and I hope I'll see you again on Friday. Let's raid. Okay, and for YouTube, I'm going to be ending stream now. I hope I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Goodbye.